Hi, fifth graders. Good to be talking to you. In this video, I'm going to explain the expectations today and define some terms for you so that you can be successful. We are going to take a look at the hydrosphere today. And by the end of today, you should know the different parts of the hydrosphere, what the hydrosphere is, and what makes up the hydrosphere and its different parts. So let's get going. Hydro is Latin for water, right? So this sphere contains all the water in the world. Now, each part that has water in it we call a reservoir. And there are 5 total reservoirs on our planet. There is one reservoir that is that has the salt water, right? That would be the oceans, seas, and bays. So any of those that you see there, that's salt water. So we can't drink that. Has a bunch of salt in it. Yeah. Also, there are 4 freshwater, or what is that, agua dulce, freshwater reservoirs on our planet. One is called the ice caps, glaciers, permanent frost, or the cryosphere. So this is all the frozen water that is on our planet that comes in the form of those 3 things. So the ice caps on the north and south poles, those big old glaciers and icebergs, and then things that are permanent snow. So the tundra and places that don't melt so often. Another reservoir we have is the underground water, or as we call them also aquifers. So this is when the water drains through the, you see a puddle on the ground, and then all of a sudden it's not there anymore. It's down. Now, not all of that goes into aquifers, but there are aquifers underneath. So that's kind of caves and any sort of water that's underground there that stays underground. So groundwater that kind of goes underground then goes into a river or lake would still be considered surface water. So this water is actually the water that is underground that stays there in what we call aquifers. Next reservoir, that would be your surface water. So rivers, lakes, swamps, anything that where water is on the surface and it is fresh. So you would be right to say, well, what about oceans? Oceans are surface water. Yes, they are, but they're not fresh water. That's a different reservoir. Okay. And then last but not least, it's our friend, the atmosphere. The atmosphere has water in it. That's where all the rain, the clouds, all that stuff is water. Pretty incredible. So let me give you your instructions today and how you should be proceeding. So we're going to pretend that all of the world's water is 1 liter, okay? 1 liter. So 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. So your job is to kind of think and use all the information you know, because you've been alive for years. Years you've been alive. And you've been paying attention. And you have thoughts, okay? So use those thoughts, use that information that you have to make an educated guess as to how much each reservoir has of the world's total water. So again, we're pretending that all the world's water is 1 liter. So how many milliliters do you think are in oceans, bays, and seas? So you would take, okay. You would type in, yeah, I can't type on this. Oh yeah, okay, so that's what's going on. So you would double click in that box and type in your guess. So maybe, I'm not going to give you any guesses, but it would be some sort of milliliter, okay? And then when you go to ice caps, glaciers, snows, you're like, well, I think it might be this much. So you're thinking that all of the world's water is 1 liter. So when you add up these 5 boxes, you should get 1,000 milliliters. All right. So think about how much water you think is in each one, and your total should get to 1,000. All right. And when you go to the next, or when you finish, and you go to the next slide, you can delete these boxes to find out how much is in each one. All right. Don't do that beforehand. Don't cheat yourself. You're not being like graded on how close you are in your guesses. It's just think about them. Think about it. You'll delete those. And then there's a couple reflection questions. So did you have a misconception about the water on our Earth, or maybe a surprise? So are you surprised by something, or did you not? A misconception is like you thought you knew something, but it turned out to be wrong. So that's a misconception. Or you're surprised about something. And then what is something you now understand about the water on our Earth? So that's answer both those questions. And then what you're going to do is we're going to pretend that the 1 liter now is just fresh water. So now you have these 4 boxes, and how much is in each one. So how much of the 1,000 milliliters is in ice caps, glaciers, and permanent snow? How much is in underground water? How much is in the atmosphere? And how much is on water? So again, your totals in here should equal 1,000. All right, and when you finished putting in your guesses there, you go to the next slide. You can delete those to find out what the answers are. And then the same questions to kind of reflect on and think about your learning. Obviously, we always do a brain dump, so take a moment and kind of write down things that you've learned and that you remember. And then you need to make a graph. So what we're wanting you to do is you can choose the type of graph you have that you make. There's 4 examples there: bar graph, line graph, circle, or pictograph. And you are going to graph the 4 reservoirs where fresh water is found. So you're going to use the information that's on this slide to make a graph about those 4 reservoirs. And when you make that graph, it could be, I guess it could be on tech, if you know how to do that on Google Sheets, or if you want to do it on drawings or something, great. If you want to do it on your piece of paper, great. And then you're going to upload the photo to the next slide, okay? Enjoy your time today figuring out the hydrosphere. And again, by the end of this, you should know the different reservoirs of the hydrosphere, what the hydrosphere is, and where in the world is all the water on our lovely home. All right, everybody. Bye.